It is now 2 weeks later, and the whole, as I told you, this is a time of extreme competition among plants, especially for flowers and for pollination. And 2 weeks make a huge difference during spring. We're approaching the last part of spring now, the last kind of 20 days. So the competition goes on. Now, what is in full bloom is the lupins, which are here, which are kind of infinite flowers. They start at the bottom, and then they keep on flowering up, and then they keep on opening all the way to the end. So it keeps on going further and further and further as it opens up. They come in a fantastic array of colors. You can see here the pinks, the lavender ones, and they're beautiful. And they have another thing that's very important. They belong in the family of the legumes, and so they are what's called nitrogen fixers. This means that they give nitrogen to the soil, and as you know, nitrogen is one of the additives that soil needs in order to make plants grow. So lupins, not only are they very, very pretty in the spring, but they also provide nitrogen to the soil and to all their neighbors. So if you have bad soil and you want somebody to grow well, plant a lupin next to him, and the lupin will give him the nitrogen that he needs to grow. We move on. There's a bunch of bushes that don't look great on their own, but they look spectacular in the spring. And normally I don't put that many in the garden because, they're nice for 2 weeks and then they're not very special the rest of the time. But this one is particularly nice. It's this kind of waterfall of pink flowers. I'm gonna give you a closer look now to see what they look like. They are these gorgeous little pink bunches all together, and they just hang out in this nice waterfall. And this is still a pretty young plant. This is going to become much bigger and create this beautiful effect of a pink waterfall of flowers. And there are many different bushes of this. You just need to go to your greenhouse, show them this video and say, I want this one if you like this one, and you got it. The lilies also are just starting to open up. You can see again the same pattern as before. The lower lilies are the first ones to open, and as you go up the bunch, the last ones to open will be these ones on the top as well, which are still closed. So this way you see the progression of what the flower looks like. It starts by looking like this, closed, and then it opens up, but now you see it in inverse. These are very pretty. These are wild. I found them in the forest and in a destroyed area, and I saved it and I took it home, and now it has just kind of grown. I did this years ago, and has grown through the years, and it rewards me with these beautiful blossoms in the spring. And it's a wild one, so it's the first one. Now we're gonna go and see what the cultivated ones, the really gigantic ones, look like. Although they haven't flowered yet, we're just gonna look at the buds. So these are the cultivated lilies, and you see they look pretty similar to the other ones, but you will see in a couple of weeks, well, for you it's going to be just a few minutes, you will see how much bigger the flowers are when they start opening up. So these are the cultivated flowers. That means years and years of gardeners and botanists selecting the biggest and most beautiful flowers and then interbreeding them to get these cultured varieties. So we have plenty of ones here. This is full of them here. You can see them all over the place. They're over here, and there are several kinds. This is another one. You can see that it's, compared to this one, it is kind of darker, redder. The other one is greener, but most of the flowers are very hot colors, combinations of dark and light orange. This whole bed here, which is full of these things, you see they have also very beautiful leaves, these guys. They look like these little palm trees. And all of this, the theme of this entire bed is kind of hot colors, yellows, oranges, and deep oranges. So in a couple of weeks, a couple of minutes for you, you will see these guys completely open and in bloom. Plants, of course, also grow in water, the famous aquatic plants, And one of our favorites is the water lily, and there you see her right over there in the lake. The lake reflects the sky, so it's a little bit confusing. We're gonna zoom in and you're gonna see them, how nice they look. These are the first blossoms, water lilies. As you can see, the plant is of course anchored at the bottom of the lake, which is about 3-4 feet deep, and then it makes a stem, a long stem, and as soon as the stem reaches the top, it makes these flat saucer-like round leaves that you see, and then sooner or later, when the conditions are perfect, like right now, the water lily is gonna make their beautiful flowers. We just sit there floating, but held always by the stem, anchored by the stem at the bottom, and nourished that way, and also waiting for their pollinators. Today's last flower is this one. I have a weakness for bunches of very, very small flowers like these ones. They're pink, you can see the colors, and they kind of float. They have very, very long stems, and they kind of float over this particular bed. Look how many there are and how pretty they are. And these have the huge advantage of lasting all summer. So these will be going on nice and pink, as you can see them here. Accompanying us all through the summer and almost all the way to October. So don't always look for large showy flowers. Sometimes a very, very tiny one in a mass works best. Finally, you don't only get color in a garden from flowers. You can also get them from leaves. This is a beautiful plant. It's from Siberia. It's a Siberian dogwood, and it has these variegated leaves. Variegated means more than one color. In this particular case, the color is white on the outside and green on the inside. So it has kind of a diagram. Every leaf has a little diagram of white to frame it. But the effect from far away is spectacular, as you can see here, is a mass inside the dark greenery of the whole garden. You have this mass of whitish leafage. They look like flowers from far away, but they're really just the leaves. So if you want color in your garden, that's the lesson I want to point out to you, is don't only look at flowers, look at leaves, because the leaves are going to last for months, whereas flowers, unless with a few exceptions, they will only last for 2 or 3 weeks, and that's it. So we'll be back very shortly, a second for you, a couple of weeks for me, with the next generation of flowers here in the Four Seasons Garden.